help facilitate the conversation so that Erica can maybe feel a little more comfortable going down the different road she wants to go down. I said it can be helpful to have someone doing the back and forth because then it actually feels like a conversation and a little less just like people staring at you and waiting for you to share your bed. So I mean,
what it feels like.
Yeah, it does feel a little bit like that, but that's okay. Still just the conversation. So I think you know, of course, Erica, but I thought it would be good to maybe start with a little bit of an intro because you don't originally come from St. Stephen, but St. Stephen is now your home. So maybe you can say a little bit about your background.
Well, when I moved out here, it was entirely on a whim. I booked my ticket 2 weeks before classes started. And I was really excited. I just wanted like this whole new adventure. I'd never been out to the East Coast before. And I literally, I lived downtown Edmonton and I moved out here and I was entirely appalled by what I saw. Very true. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. Some days I still have no idea what I'm getting myself into. But prior to having coming to SSU, I had taken a year of architecture school, which I think also a lot of people know that. But that obviously didn't pan out. And I was very disappointed about that. And I think that's why I had this little mini crisis. I decided to move as far away from the problem as I could. So that's essentially what brought me here. And another little unique thing about me being here is the fact that my mom is also here. And that was really hard at first. It was definitely, I felt like I was losing the independence I had just gained.
And she came after you.
Yeah, she came after me. Yeah, literally came after me. She doesn't like it when I say it that way, but that's how it went. And I distinctly remember sitting in the cafe. It was the end of first semester of my first year, and she called me. She's like, hey, Erica, I have something to tell you. I was like, okay, what's up? And I was sitting with like Emily and Lucinda, typing on my homework on the back bench. Like we claimed it. We were there all the time. And she's like, so I got a job. I said, that's amazing. Where'd you get, like where'd you get this job? She's like, oh, this place called Arauco. I was like, wow, good for them. I don't know what that is. And she's like, yeah, do you want to know where it is? I was like, sure, please tell me, like, where are you going? She's like, it's in St. Stephen. And I just started crying. Because I was like, what am I supposed to do? Because I was like, this is great. I think this is, yeah. So, that's how not only did St. Stephen's University make this kind of like a life choice for me, but it ended up making St. Stephen my home. So, that's pretty nice. But with that being said, it's definitely been a whirlwind 4 years. And when I first moved out here, as many of you know, like I absolutely hated it. Though I am actually super thankful for Peter and Mary Ellen because they picked up this poor little girl in Moncton who had never been to the East Coast before, and they're probably the nicest people I could ever meet. So every time I tell somebody that story, I'm always like, I'm so thankful that they picked me up. But yeah, I wasn't used to small town life. I wasn't used to being independent either, so that was a whole other thing. I thought I was very independent. And coming here, community hit me like a brick wall. And I was like absolutely terrified of it. I didn't like it. I always felt like people were in my business. I was like, why? I was maybe surprised and kind of shocked by like how much people cared. But I was also put off from it a little bit. And I think that separated me quite a bit from the essence of like a tight-knit community for the first little while. And I think that was really difficult, but with that being said, I'm thankful that a lot of that has changed. So I'm at a point now where I really just appreciate it and I like it. Sometimes I crave it. Sometimes I totally don't know how to maneuver through the whole community aspect yet, or understand why it's such a big part of my life. But I'm really thankful that I'm learning about that. Yeah. And so when I started talking to Sarah about like what I wanted to talk about for a Fireside Chat, I was thinking about how identity was a big thing for me. Because even just like through that little story, like you can probably tell my identity has changed, or my persona or whatever, personality is quite a bit different than it was before. At least I like to think it is. So like if I can notice it, hopefully it is.
Is it fair to say, even maybe we talked about this a little bit yesterday, maybe not so much your true to you personality, but some of it maybe is even your perception of who you are,
Yeah.
you know, in terms of, this is what I think people think I am, and so I adopted that.
Yeah.
And then a little bit of trying to get rid of those layers and go, actually, what's already underneath.
I think the biggest thing that I've learned in the last 4 years, besides, meeting some really amazing friends and actually hopefully getting a degree by the end of this semester, that I don't necessarily, I've always been looking for what my calling is, or who I am, or what my identity is, and I'm realizing now that I've always been asking the wrong questions maybe. So being here and over the last 4 years, I've definitely learned how to break down a lot of these walls and barriers that I had put up. And even as frustrating as it is, because I hate vague and I hate not knowing, which is, it drives me absolutely crazy. But I'm really happy that hopefully by the end of this year, I'm at a point where I know so much more about myself that it's like a clean slate, and then I can continue on to learn about who I am. I'm in a much healthier place to define who I am. So I think that's been really helpful for me.
So we have talked the last few days a lot about a few big things, and the words identity and kind of purpose, I would say. I think we were talking a little bit about how cliche, you say, what's your identity, what's your purpose, and it can feel a little,
So cliche.
yes. So what we were talking about is how, you use those words, but what I think a Fireside Chat offers is a good opportunity, it's not a long stretch of time, to actually put some feet under those phrases and those words and actually say, okay, so there's this big idea of identity or purpose, but what does that actually mean for someone like Erica, with her own unique story, with her own purpose, and who I would say, I think I can affirm this for lots of us, that we're glad you did end up here. I am. And we were laughing about Erica in first year and how I can safely say she did drive me crazy. It's so funny now that I started.
It's funny now.
I started at the same time, and we kind of had this chat the other day, and she's like, I know I was awful, and I was like, you weren't awful, but I went, yeah. We went to Asia together, and it's also, I think, a great gift to see, and lots of you have been around here longer to see this, but for me, Erica's class, particularly who are graduating this year, I really did see that first year to fourth year journey, so I'm so glad that you're here. But we've been talking about identity and how SSU has, in some ways, and you've already, I think, touched on this, but how you came in, you maybe want to touch on sort of, you came in with some 5-year plans.
Oh my gosh.
This is who I am and this is where I'm going. And then I'm at the window. And I just am interested to hear more about how SSU has both helped you on the journey to figure out who you are and also challenged you on that journey. So I want to get into some of the
We did.
specifics.
I had these perfect 5-year plans when I graduated high school. I knew what I wanted, I knew when I wanted it, I knew how I wanted to achieve it, and today I am telling you that I have got none of those things. not one thing on those 5-year plans I have achieved. Which was entirely depressing for the longest time. And I think that's, when I think about it now, going to university, the first time that I went to university, that was like, okay, this is my first step, I'm getting this whole 5-year plan thing, like it's working, and then it didn't. And then I just went in this like huge downward spiral of disappointment in myself. But then I moved out here and I was like, okay, I can pick up these 5-year plans. Like I can work with this. And at this point, I've thrown them out the window and I'm just like taking it day by day. So I'm thankful for that. But a lot of the reason I can joke about it now and I can just like take it day by day is because one of the biggest things that SSU has presented me with is the concept of grace. It seems super hokey also, but like those cliche things, they're so true. They're probably cliche for a reason, but they're great. And I, being a person who is a little bit of a perfectionist and has all these 5-year plans, like I'm the type of person that if I don't follow through with the things that I want, like I do get really disappointed. And so I've really had to learn that like it's not really the end of the world if all my friends have graduated before me, yet I'm still in a class with a whole bunch of friends who are graduating with me. So that's a really amazing thing for me to learn. I don't put as much pressure on myself anymore as I used to. To the point, and it would be like to the point where I would like combust and I would have like all of these like huge anger problems, which is probably a lot of why I was like super intense in my first year, or you should have seen me before I moved here. I'm just really thankful that I can like live with a little bit more grace for myself. And I'm definitely just trying to shy away from that people have on me, of their expectations for me. I don't think it's bad to have expectations, but I don't necessarily think they can be the healthiest either. So that's something that I've learned is really important. And I'm just consistently like trying to remind myself that maybe you didn't get what you wanted to do today, but tomorrow's another day, or you can even try later, like just get back up and do it again. And apparently I've done it enough to the point where I will be graduating, so that's kind of nice. There's been a lot of moments that I've been here that I'm like, no, I'm done, I'm going back home, see you, goodbye. And then somehow I re-enroll for the next semester. But you know what, if it's a pattern that worked for me, it's a pattern that worked. And Sarah and I were talking about it the other day too. Being able to give myself a little bit more grace doesn't necessarily mean that I've lost a lot of like my vulnerabilities to things. I think that was an important thing that I actually didn't even realize until we were talking. I do still have those, but I show them in a different way, I think. Like I said, like I'm not as intense, but my vulnerabilities they're still there, but I know how to manage them. I know self-care, it's another buzzword again, but it's such a big thing. I know how to better take care of like my mental health and just enjoy time in community, and just realize that it's okay to get help from people. That was the biggest thing. I grew up as an only child, and my mom was divorced, but she was like this powerhouse of a woman who I was like, oh my gosh, I want to be like that. Like she rocked it, but she was always working and stuff like that, so I had to learn to be independent pretty quickly. And so I did. Like I had a job ever since I was from a young age, which is probably why I still have this mentality that I just always need a job. It's my hobby, apparently. So then I was always just stuck in this, like, I can do it myself. And I still am like that quite a bit. Like, I can do things myself and I can take things on, but it was definitely a lot more unhealthy kind of way. It was like, I didn't realize that, support is such a good thing. And so learning to say that I do need help sometimes it's humbling, but it's also it's been good for me, I think. So when I say community hit me like a brick wall here, I mean that.
And we were talking about, the idea of grace, having grace for yourself. I mean, there's an internal dialogue that we all have. I would guess, I'm not inside all of your heads, just mine. But that sometimes it's like we're talking about, it's like building a muscle or learning a new language sometimes to actually practice giving yourself grace. So that's an internal thing that takes up a lot of energy sometimes to build in that, no, I will have grace for myself, I have grace for myself. But then to actually live that out and then to ask for help. So it's two different things, and I think that
It's not easy, but
it isn't easy, but I think what is neat to see as we've been talking about the whole identity thing, I'm really, and I said it a little earlier, I have felt that pretty strongly that, I don't necessarily look at you and think, here's someone who hasn't ever known who she is. I see someone who's had a lot of layers put on top and has had maybe a little more space, and then we've talked about the feeling of when you feel aimless. It's a little bit like, oh, okay, hold on, I can't find the ground yet, which is kind of like university is sometimes. So you're maybe not there yet, standing firmly on who exactly you know yourself to be, but this unlayering or this peeling away, I just am excited because I think, you are, I said this, a strong leader. I think, we see Erica and that passion. We talked about sometimes feeling like the things that aren't great we need to just get rid of them. But I don't think Erica needs to get rid of her passion. I think her passion is what's just gonna, take her out there and just keep her going. It's true. And I'll say that now after that first year class where I was a little bit like, this girl could lose some of this passion. It's making me crazy, but so I just think that's been a neat conversation to talk about how it is like building a muscle though to get yourself to that point. And we also were talking about kind of values, like learning how to also own what you value and be okay that not everyone else has to value the same things, but you can still, maybe your family or friends or people who knew you when, to be able to say, I'm not exactly what you thought I was, and that's okay, but I can still be heading in the direction of what I value. So, yeah.
it's a lot of learning to look for confidence in words instead of like relying on other people. That was a lot of my issue beforehand too, is not knowingly but like seeking validation by being like an independent person. So then just being happy enough to like celebrate a lot of the little things that I notice instead in myself, and just being really happy with that instead of feeling like I'm not reaching these insane goals. I'm not, buying a house, I'm not getting married, I don't have my degree yet or anything, but it's like, oh, well, I did something small today that I noticed about myself that made me really happy and that like made me feel full, and I think that's a little bit more important to me right now, which is great. Really great. Yeah.
So is there anything else from we did really talk about identity, grace has been a big theme. Anything else from SSU that has kind of, as you're approaching the finish line, that has stood out to you as, teaching? I think this whole idea of community, because I think you come into SSU and sometimes there can be a sense of, I have to do community the way these people all, like as though there's one unified way we all operate. Then you learn that's not true. So figuring out what community means to you or how you want to.
I definitely did have a problem with community to begin with. I mean, that's not a secret. But I just, yeah. At first I didn't really understand. I was like, round table, that makes sense. I'm around these people 24/7. Why? Why do I have to do this? So I'm sorry, Rachel and Jeremy. Like, I loved going to round tables.
You came sometimes.
Yeah. Then it got to the point where once I was like officially moved here, which I obviously has helped me, but once I was like here and it was said and done, I had to start building a life here. Meaning I had to be a little bit more invested in what I'm doing. It did also help too, so like at the time when I moved here, I was in a long-term, long-distance relationship. Obviously not now, and that's fine with me. But one of the things that I learned from that I'm really thankful that I learned, was that I need to make the time worth it. So it stopped being far away. It was awful. But that just meant that time to me was so significant that I had to make the best out of it. And so learning that, making the best out of it meant like trying to do my best in school, but also trying to use my time wisely, like with the friends that I had been making and the people that I was with, and just trying to be a better part of the community. And a lot of that came through like people just like forcing it onto me, being like, oh yeah, you're coming tonight, right? Like you're gonna come to this thing, yeah? Okay. Or just, you know, generally like hanging out with groups of friends in large places, like just big groups of people, or being lucky enough to have people who were committed to trying to be my friends too. So, yeah, that definitely helped. Plus, we talk about it enough that it's no secret either. So it's almost like this little seed that kind of just gets planted in the back of your mind, and you kind of you like the idea, and then you find people who also share like these similar values, and so it's not just like the similar ideas or oh, I like that same thing too, but they show you that they learn these values that you are also starting to appreciate, and then you kind of like to take that in and adopt that, and I think that's been really helpful too. Even if you don't have to outrightly say like, oh, I love what you're doing, like show me more. It just, you kind of pick it up, and then next thing you know, it's just a habit, which is good.
And it can be reinforcing. I find this, maybe we talked about this week already, that when you're in that a little bit of an aimless stage with some things, like we talked about the deconstructing that happens, throwing things down and going, what do I want to do with all of this? Pick it up, turn it around, look at it. Do I want this back? Am I done with it? To have people around you, whether it's explicitly or implicitly affirming, that can just give you the extra boost. Maybe some of that unknown reason why you kept coming back. Why did I just register for another term? I don't know why. But some of that affirming or kind of walking alongside, just to have people, whether explicitly or not, are kind of trying to do the same thing, that can really give us what we need in those times.
It's really funny because I was thinking about it before, kind of saying, oh, what am I going to talk about? And the biggest change that I see in myself now, as frustrating as it can be, is when, and I realize like community has been a good thing for me, like it has been humbling, and I have toned down a lot in a very good and healthy way. I wouldn't say like I've lost this like life personality that I used to have, but it's definitely tame, which is good. At first I used to find it, kind of funny, maybe not funny. I was always put off by it when people were like, oh, I was really intimidated by you when I first met you. Or like, yeah, you kind of scared me, or things like that. And I would hear it really, like quite often, and it was just really, really like depressing almost. Like it was really sad, and I was like, is this how I was being perceived to people? And I didn't like that. So that, as awful as it was hearing, was like a big learning curve too. So I've definitely been trying to change well, not necessarily change, but be a little softer, which I think has been good. Because that has like allowed me to not only just meet more people that I can like get closer to, but that goes along with this whole thing where like my vulnerabilities don't necessarily go away, but they just come across in a different light. Because chances are I'm just projecting like this. Maybe I'm scared, and like, I'm probably just as scared of you as you are of me. So I think that helps too. Helped a lot.
And then the good thing is you can be soft and fierce at the same time. I'm fully that you can be. And I think a lot of the learning is learning how, because sometimes we're fierce because we're projecting.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a little bit of what I hear you say, and maybe what I would recognize. You know, I remember we went to Asia, and I was like, that's a whole other story. That's a great, full of great stories. Anyway, ask her later. Great story. But I just remember being in Asia and having that sense, which you do with many people when you go through the travel term and you talk with that, but of this idea of where, and in myself I recognize this, where I put up my guard or get my claws ready because I'm thinking, I'm not ready to go to that place in myself, so don't you dare try to go to that place. And so that's sometimes maybe a misuse of, or directing that fierceness out of fear, but we're also talking about operating out of fear or operating out of love. And I think again, there's passion, there's fierceness that is such a great part of you and who you are, and that we would want to lose. But there is softness that can go along in learning how to, that's part of the learning. I think it's just how we all figure out the best way to use and interact with those parts of ourselves. So, yeah, there's some great Asia stories. Okay, we have a few minutes left, unless there's some final thoughts you really want to share, which feel free. We did want to open it up. Erica wanted to open it up for questions, so I don't know.
I don't have a whole lot to talk about, so
She came, she said, I have nothing to talk about. I said, I don't know about that. So I'm so glad.
I'd like to say something. It's not a question. It's just I watched some of this process kind of from a distance. I've almost never seen such a dramatic shift.
Oh.
And I remember the intensity in first year, and I remember it was almost like you were, maybe you were passionate and directed, but you were also strong, intense towards yourself and intense towards others. And then somewhere in the next year, I just came home and I told Mariana, I've just never seen anything like it. It's like some kind of a transformation, and suddenly it was like the softness that you're talking about had become real in the way you were dealing with other people, and this beautiful light inside of you was just shining the way it is today. It was just such a privilege to watch. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Why did you come here? How did you find out about this?
My mother found it for me, and she wanted to come here before I did. But then she was like, no. Like, I was in a really bad state because it was right after I had dropped out of Nate and was like, what is going on? I don't know what to do with my life. It was horrible. And then she knew I really liked to travel. That was kind of a part of my identity when I moved here, and I realized we kind of all share the same thing, so I was like, well, I'm not so unique, apparently. But yeah, so she found this place, and then I looked at it, and I was like, traveling, that seems kind of cool. You know, that's what I want to do. And then I applied, and I was lucky enough to have Genevieve, that Genevieve was working at the time. Because she was I was so surprised by because I'd applied to other universities and things like that, but the fact that she was sending me handwritten notes, she was sending me the SSU lookbook. She was sending me Christmas cards, which now I know is a thing that we do every year. And it just made me feel so special. Yeah, so then I decided 2 weeks before, and I was like, I'm gonna book a plane ticket to New Brunswick. But it was actually really difficult because at that time I had also been accepted into going to an archaeology program in Calgary. So it was weighing this, like, do I stay in Alberta? Do I stay comfortable where I am? Because I'm all about staying comfortable and like staying protected and closed off, and well, I was all about that. And then I'm not 100% sure what drew me out here, but I ended up coming, so yeah. Yeah.
I remember your mother doing the research, and
Yeah.
she told us about it too. She got so excited, she said, this is exactly where I want to go to school. So like 20 years too late.
Yeah, I told her she's not allowed to apply until after I graduate. You might see her application next year.
Come after me, but not that close.
Yeah.
Steffi said.
We were chatting last week, and that this is just kind of, it was going back to what we were talking about before the question period, and then like learning to be more soft and stuff. But then you talked about how like when you were out west and around so many people and you had your friends, like it was really easy for you to like just be like, if you don't like me, then so what? But then here, like, do you want like I think it would be cool to talk about that for a second, but you don't have to. But I just think there's a connection. Like, do you think that you would have had that same thing happen if you had to stay in Calgary? Like, or
Not at all. Not at all. One of the biggest challenges that I faced since moving here is the holes of friendship that I've like tried to have. I mean, I'm so happy that I've made like these really amazing friends out here too. But there's like still a part of me in Alberta, like with my friends. I'm so thankful for the ones who have like stuck with me like throughout the years, and that's really amazing. But then slowly, like it's really saddening to see like when you have friends who are just kind of like starting their own lives and you're not there for it. So that's been really, really hard. But at the same time, when I think about like some of the things that they would say to me, or the way that I would act around them, not to say that it was necessarily a bad thing, but like they just took that intensity and they probably just like embraced maybe the more negative sides of it, being like, yeah, you're that friend that doesn't hold back, like you're the friend that would go, you would protect us, but you would be the one who would be there, like just being like really intense and stuff like that. And that's kind of when I started, and it went hand in hand with the like, oh yeah, I was intimidated by you when I first met you, and I was like, I don't think that's me, and I don't like that people think that that's me. So that has been a big change for me, but it's also helped me to learn to let go. So like I think that's like the last thing of my past that I've had to let go and realize that like if I want to move forward and I want to be better and feel more confident with myself, then I have to be with people who will allow me to, you know, be fierce when I want to be, but like be soft when I can. So I think is what we were getting at.
This is it. Probably last question.
I don't know if this is really a question, but in people talking, like, it's funny because we're talking about like the transformation, but I just had one example of like the first year, like just that like fierce inside just coming out, like at the same time, like no, like it was, I was like deathly sick in my bed, and Erica was like, you're sick? And she is here in like 5 minutes, and I'm like, you're not supposed to be able to get here in 5 minutes. I was like, what? It's just a huge bag of medication, and like I was like, no, like I don't want to take anything. She's like, what do you have? Read the symptoms, and like, so it's like that like ridiculous, like fierce, but at the same time it's like so caring, and it's funny because like it's not just that like it all of a sudden came out, like it's been there the whole time. It's just awesome that
I think
That's one example of like both coming at the same time.
Was
That's
this-
just continued.
That was the same day that I lost my dog. And yeah, I mean the story is actually really, really funny. It's really unsafe. It's really, really funny. It's like, anyway, so I lost my dog. She bolted, and she's a city dog, so she just like, there's trees, and somehow she's just like amazed by it, and she wants to go pee on every single one. And I live out in the country, we have 80 acres of land. My dog bolted out the door, and I was like, what am I supposed to do? It's the middle of winter, and I was wearing like a tank top and these Lululemon pants or whatever. Hopped in my car and was like trying to chase my dog down, because I don't know where I had no idea where she went. My mom's freaking out, and she's on the passenger side of my car. This was first thing in the morning, and we live at the top of the hill, so we were going down this hill. This was after like 40 minutes of trying to find her. I was driving down this hill, and there's a car driving up the hill. And I'm looking, my mom's crying, and I see my dog jump out onto the road in front of the car. And I'm freaking out, and my instinct was to throw the car into neutral and go get my dog. It was not the smartest thing to do, but the car's rolling down the hill, and I'm outside of the car, and my mom's freaking out. She's like, what just happened? She's on the passenger seat. So she's grabbing the wheel, the steering wheel, and I just see this car driving up towards my dog. My dog's stupid, so she's just sitting there like, oh, look at you, like, where did you come from? And the car finally sees me and slams on their brakes and nearly misses my dog. And my dog starts running to me, and I was like, and I just like grabbed her and started chasing after my car. And then I kind of just threw her in the car, and then I jumped in the car. And then we got down to just this little area, like just sat in silence for a little bit. And then I went back home, and then that's when Lucinda told me she was really, really sick. And then I was like, oh, I have a funny story to tell you to make you feel better too.
Yeah. So she comes with like 30 pants, like I got out of my car to get my dog. I was like, what?
Not weird. Like, not on my watch. Not today. Okay, we do have to wrap it up because I probably class, but thank you, Erica.
Thank you.
And if you have more questions or comments, I'm going to go out on a limb and say she will talk to you about it. But yeah, we love you.
Who can satisfy the